Something shifted. You might not even be able to pinpoint when. But somewhere in the last few weeks, or maybe just the last few days, something changed in the way you were holding yourself. You stopped explaining. You stopped reaching. You stopped making yourself smaller to keep the peace in a connection that has not been peaceful in a long time. And then your body started doing something strange. Your lower abdomen started aching. Your hips felt heavy. There was pressure in your gut that had nothing to do with what you ate. Maybe a burning sensation in your solar plexus that comes and goes without warning, sometimes waking you up at night, sometimes hitting you in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. Maybe a tenderness at the base of your spine, a heaviness in your sacral area, a root chakra tightening that feels almost like grief. You wondered if you were getting sick. You are not getting sick. What is happening in your body right now is not random. It is not anxiety. It is not you falling apart. It is your energy field doing something that it has never been asked to do before. It is recalibrating, rebuilding, restructuring a system that has been merged with his for a very long time, at a level you can feel in your bones but cannot fully explain. This video is about that, about what actually happens, energetically and physically, when the divine feminine raises her standards, about why the body responds the way it does, about why he feels it before she has said a single word, and about why this moment, as uncomfortable as it is one of the most powerful things she can do for the connection. Stay with me. If you are in separation right now and you have been feeling the shift in your body, something that goes beyond emotion and lands in the physical, leave a like and subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. Drop the words "I am reclaiming my energy" in the comments to anchor this into the field. There is a reading I want to tell you about before we go deeper. You are in a specific moment right now, not a general twin flame moment. A specific energetic shift is happening in your body, in your connection. And if you have been wondering what the universe is actually doing with the two of you, a personalized reading built from your birth chart is the clearest mirror I know of. This is not a generic compatibility report. It is a reading that goes into your specific chart, your specific karmic blueprint, what is blocking the connection right now, and what your soul contract with this person actually says. You will receive a personal audio reading delivered directly to your inbox and a detailed PDF you can return to again and again. You just need to provide your name, birth date, time, and place of birth at checkout. Your reading arrives within 48 hours. If you have been sitting in the dark guessing, this is how you get actual clarity. The link is in the description. Let us start with what most twin flame content will not tell you. When twin flames connect, their chakra systems do not stay separate. They begin to merge. This is not poetic language. This is what the energetic body actually does when two people share a soul origin. The connection does not just live in the heart chakra, the way most people talk about it. It runs through the entire system, root to crown. But here is what is less talked about. The lower chakras, root, sacral, solar plexus, are the most grounded, the most physical, the most tied to survival and identity and power, and they are the most affected when she shifts. The root chakra sits at the base of your spine. It governs safety, belonging, survival instinct, and the foundational question of whether it is safe to exist in the world as you are. In a twin flame connection, this chakra becomes entangled with his. His nervous system and yours are in communication at a level below conscious thought. When you have been in a prolonged state of waiting, accommodating, shrinking, your root chakra has been holding a specific frequency. One that says, "I will make myself safe by keeping this available to him. I will not rock the foundation because the foundation is the only thing I have left." The moment you shift that, the moment you internally decide that your safety cannot depend on whether or not he stays, your root chakra begins to process that decision physically. There will be sensations, pressure, aching, sometimes a trembling energy in the hips or legs. This is not a sign that something is wrong. This is the root chakra letting go of a survival strategy that no longer serves you, and he feels it. Not because of anything you said, because your root frequency changed. and his is merged with yours. The sacral chakra sits just below the navel. It governs creativity, sensuality, emotional flow, and the way you relate to others. In separation, the sacral chakra of the divine feminine often becomes congested. You have been pouring emotional energy into a connection that has not been returning it in kind. You have been holding the emotional weight of two people. You have been processing his feelings and your own simultaneously, often unable to tell which belongs to you. When you raise your standards, when you stop absorbing his emotional chaos and redirect that energy back into yourself, the sacral chakra begins to release what it has been storing. This can feel like bloating, like tenderness in the lower abdomen, like an emotional flooding that arrives without an obvious trigger. You might cry and not know why. You might feel a warmth or a pulsing energy in that area that is unsettling because it is unfamiliar. What is actually happening is that the sacral chakra is reclaiming its own space. The energy that belonged to him is releasing. The energy that belongs to you is returning. The solar plexus sits at the upper abdomen, between your navel and your sternum. This is the chakra of personal power, self-worth, and individual identity. It is also, in twin flame connections, the chakra most associated with the cord of connection itself. Many women in separation describe a pulling sensation in the solar plexus when they think of him, a tightening when they imagine him with someone else, a burning when they set a boundary he does not like. This is not imagination. The solar plexus is where the energetic tether between twin flames is most physically felt. And when she begins to reclaim her power, when she stops centering him in her solar plexus and begins centering herself, this area becomes extraordinarily active. The burning intensifies before it calms. The pulling sensation gets louder before it quiets. The body is renegotiating the terms of the energetic contract, and it is doing it through sensation, because sensation is the language the body knows. Here is what nobody explains. You have not called him. You have not texted. You have not posted anything directed at him. You have not made a dramatic declaration. You have not told anyone what you decided. It is entirely internal. It is just a shift in your own relationship with yourself, and he knows. Not consciously, probably. He would not be able to tell you what changed or when he noticed it. But something in his system registered a change in yours. He might reach out for no reason. He can articulate. He might go suddenly quieter as if he felt a door close somewhere. He might become more present in your awareness, showing up in dreams, in that strange peripheral feeling that someone is thinking about you, in a knowing that arrives before any evidence. This is not coincidence. This is how merged energetic systems work. From a neurological standpoint, there is a documented phenomenon in close relationships where two nervous systems become entrained. They begin to regulate each other, to mirror each other's rhythms, to respond to each other's shifts. The polyvagal research of Stephen Porges shows that the social engagement system, the part of the nervous system that reads and responds to other people, is extraordinarily sensitive to shifts in the people it is attuned to. In a twin flame connection, this attunement is operating at a depth most couples never reach. David Schnarch, whose work on differentiation in relationships is some of the most honest in the field, describes what happens when one partner begins to hold their own center. He calls it the process of becoming a more differentiated self. And what he found, consistently, is that when one person in a close relationship becomes more differentiated, the other person feels it as a kind of pressure, a disruption to the equilibrium, a demand to rise that they did not consciously agree to. The divine masculine feels the shift in her because his system is calibrated to hers. And differentiation, her choosing herself at the level of identity and not just behavior, sends a frequency through the merged system that he cannot ignore. He may not respond immediately. He may resist. He may double down on distance as his system tries to reestablish the old equilibrium. But he has felt it. The signal has arrived, and his nervous system is now working on what to do with it. You have heard about the merged chakra system. You may have wondered if it is real or if it is poetic language that the twin flame community uses to explain things that feel inexplicable. Here is what I can tell you. When two people are in an unusually deep connection over time, the research in interpersonal neurobiology, the field developed by Daniel Siegel and others, shows that their neural architecture begins to reflect each other. Mirror neurons fire in response to the other person's emotional state. Oxytocin pathways become linked. The amygdala, the part of the brain that processes threat and safety, begins to calibrate its threat threshold, partly based on the other person's presence or absence. In spiritual terms, what the twin flame community calls a merged chakra system is the energetic dimension of this neurobiological reality. The two systems are not separate. They have never been separate. The connection has always been operating through both bodies simultaneously, which is why twin flame separation does not feel like any other kind of separation. The nervous system is not grieving someone it once knew. It is experiencing the disruption of a regulatory system that has been running through two bodies at once. The lower chakras are the most physically rooted part of that system. The root chakra is where survival signals are processed. The sacral chakra is where relational energy is stored and exchanged. The solar plexus is where the tether of identity and power runs between them. When she shifts any part of that, every part of the system has to adjust. This is why the body pain is real. This is why it can be intense. This is why it is not something to push through or suppress with distraction. It is information. It is the body completing an energetic process that the mind began when she decided she could not stay contracted any longer. Let it happen. Stay with the sensation rather than fleeing from it. The body knows what it is doing. I want to stop here for a moment, because here is what I see happen to women on this journey. They do the work. They feel the shifts. They have the realizations. And then 3 months later, they cannot tell if they are further along than they were or if they are spinning in the same circles. The energetic work is invisible. The inner shifts do not show up anywhere external. And without a way to track them, progress disappears into the feeling that nothing is changing. That is why I created the Twin Flame Journey Tracker and Progress Workbook. 39 pages. Not another ebook full of concepts you already know. A system. An 8-stage journey tracker so you can see exactly where you are and mark your movement month by month. A synchronicity log so you stop losing the 11:11 moments and the signs that actually mean something. Weekly reflections that help you spot the patterns you would miss if you were just living in your head. Monthly reviews where you can look back and see that yes, you have moved, even when it did not feel like it. The question she is asking right now is not, am I in love with him? It is, am I actually getting anywhere? This workbook answers that question. The link is in the description. Let us be honest about what differentiation looks like. It does not look like anger. It does not look like a dramatic boundary announcement. It does not look like posting quotes about self-worth or suddenly going cold. In the way David Schnarch defines it, differentiation is the internal process of holding on to yourself while remaining in contact with another person. It is the capacity to stay clear about who you are, what you need, and what you will accept, even when the other person is doing everything in their power to destabilize that clarity. For the divine feminine in separation, differentiation looks like this. It looks like noticing that she has been making herself responsible for his emotional state and deciding she is no longer going to do that. It looks like recognizing that her nervous system has been in a low-grade state of vigilance for months, scanning for his signals, adjusting her energy to manage his absence, running her own life in a kind of background orbit around his. And it looks like slowly and not without grief, beginning to recenter that energy in herself. This is not giving up on the connection. This is what the connection actually asked her to do. Twin flame separation has a purpose, and the purpose is not to punish her or to make her wait. The purpose is to bring her to exactly this. The place where she cannot sustain the posture of waiting any longer. The place where the physical pain in her lower body is so loud it demands she pay attention. The place where staying contracted around the hope of him costs more than she has left to spend. The universe does not move the connection forward when she is organized around him. It moves the connection forward when she is organized around herself. And here is why that matters for the energetic system. The merged chakra field operates on resonance. His system is not looking for someone who needs him in the way she has been needing him. That frequency, the frequency of waiting and accommodation and shrinking, creates a dynamic in the field that keeps both of them frozen. His avoidance system knows exactly how to maintain homeostasis with a partner who is waiting. It has been doing it for months. When she shifts her frequency, when the root chakra stops broadcasting the signal of contingent safety and starts broadcasting the signal of settled self-sourced ground, the field changes. There is no longer an energetic structure that supports his avoidance in the same way. The equilibrium that kept both of them in place is disrupted, and the disruption is what creates the possibility of movement. This is not strategy. This is not a technique for making him come back. This is what happens to the energetic reality between two people when one of them stops being organized around the other. The lower body pain that she is feeling right now is the physical signature of that disruption. The root aching, the sacral releasing, the solar plexus renegotiating the cord, all of it is the body completing what the soul already decided. The question that comes next is practical. What do you actually do with this? You do not push through it. You do not ignore it. You do not tell yourself it is weakness or falling apart or a sign that something is wrong. The physical sensation in the lower chakras during this shift is a completion process. And completion processes and somatic work require that you stay present rather than flee. Peter Levine, whose work on somatic experiencing changed the way we understand how the body processes and releases stored energy, describes what he calls the completion of thwarted biological responses. When an animal in the wild completes a threat response, the body trembles, shakes, and releases the energy that was mobilized for survival. Humans interrupt this completion constantly because we have learned to manage, suppress, and intellectualize rather than feel. The lower chakra sensations you are experiencing are a version of this completion. Your body mobilized enormous amounts of energy over the months of separation. It organized itself around a connection that was both deeply real and deeply painful. The survival mechanisms that live in the root chakra, the relational processing that runs through the sacral, the identity and power questions housed in the solar plexus, all of it has been running at high intensity for a long time. When she shifts, when she raises her standards at the level of identity rather than behavior, the body begins to discharge that stored energy. It does this through sensation, through aching, through the periodic waves of emotion that seem to come from nowhere, through the dreams that surface material that has been compressed for months. What to do with it? Be horizontal when you can. Allow the sensations without narrating them. Put your hands on the areas that ache. Breathe slowly into the lower abdomen and let whatever wants to move, move. Walk slowly in nature, barefoot if possible, to allow the root chakra to ground into an earth frequency that is stable and neutral. Do not rush to explain or understand the experience. Let the body do the work it knows how to do. And understand that what is moving through you is not grief for him. It is the energy of who you were in relation to him, the contracted version. The version that made herself small, the version that organized her nervous system around his presence and absence. That version is releasing, and the releasing is physical because the holding was physical. You are not falling apart, you are clearing the field. Here is what I want to leave you with. The twin flame journey has a signature. And the signature is that the outer connection follows the inner shift with a precision that the rational mind cannot fully account for. She does not hear from him and then decide to raise her standards. She raises her standards. The inner field shifts, and then something changes in the outer connection, sometimes in ways she never anticipated, sometimes quietly and without drama, sometimes in a form that looks nothing like what she had been hoping for. This is because the connection was never just about him. It was always about what she was being asked to become. The lower chakra pain is not punishment. It is not evidence that she has been wrong about any of this. It is the body completing a recalibration that the soul has been asking for since the separation began. Every ache in the root, every wave through the sacral, every burning in the solar plexus is the system doing what it was designed to do. Releasing what is not hers, returning to what is. The merged system between them will not dissolve. It will not end because she chose herself. It will recalibrate. His system will feel the change in hers. And from that change, from the new frequency she is now holding in the lower body, in the part of the energy field that is the most rooted and the most real, something new becomes possible. Not because she performed it, not because she executed a strategy, because she is standing on ground that is finally her own. That is the frequency that calls him home. And it lives in the body. It has always lived in the body. She is just now learning to let it.